Hey guys, so I have been wanting to film for the past month. I know my last video was posted about a month ago, but I felt as that if I just filmed for the sake of it, it wouldn't be authentic. And I have been going through some things that I realized that could be valuable content for my video, and I'm not going to be, thinking about how I want to approach this YouTube channel. I always compared myself to other YouTubers doing very different things to what my talents are. Like, I am someone who is able to talk about my life experiences and emotion and psychology because that's just something that I've always been interested in. So come to realize that I want to lean into myself and my true talent. So today I want to talk about exploring guilt. I have it written here. Exploring guilt, freedom from people, and how you are avoidant without even realizing it. And the reason why I want to talk about these 3 points is because honestly, that's kind of what my current struggle in life is. I haven't journaled since about August last year because I had something really traumatic happen to me, and the thought of writing about it or leaning into my emotions were very scary. And what I have realized is the consequences of that have been really detrimental in terms of just like living my life to the fullest and pursuing the life that I want. And having emotions come up that you don't want to deal with is really normal, but at the same time, I think you have to lean into them to move on from them. One of the consequences dealing with the suppression of my emotions has been feeling guilt all the time. And I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but guilt for me has been such a baseline emotion ever since I was a child. And I don't know if it's because growing up with traumatic experiences, maybe guilt and shame have been embedded in me, but I'm analyzing how I interact with people. I'm analyzing how I feel and interact with the world, and I've realized that feeling guilty is just always there. And it leans into my people-pleasing tendencies. It leans into my social anxiety, having surface level friendships, wanting to be liked so much. And it's exhausting, and I'm exploring that currently, and it's made me realize a lot of things. When you feel guilty, it is because you don't feel like you are enough. You feel like you don't deserve to be here. You feel like you are taking up space. I feel guilty just going downstairs and going into the kitchen when someone is sitting in the living room. That's how much guilt I feel. I feel like I am disturbing someone. I feel like I'm disturbing the peace when someone is watching TV. I feel like I have to subject somebody to have a conversation with me. And mind you, I live with my very loving family who love me so much. I feel guilty for walking into a door and just going over to someone's house. I feel guilty for saying hello, again, having someone subjected to have a conversation, maybe because I have social anxiety and I know how bad that is and how overwhelming that can be. I feel guilty talking to a cashier. I prefer self-checkout so I don't have to interact with anyone. I feel guilty for taking too long at the self-service. I feel guilty when I'm having a manicure, when I'm going to any store, because I've done retail before and I know that dealing with customers is just really overwhelming. So yeah, I just have this really just strong feeling of guilt, and I'm searching on my Kindle right now. I haven't looked at YouTube videos about it. Like, I have done YouTube meditation exercises on releasing guilt and shame, but I genuinely don't know where that comes from, but I do know how to deal with it. So in terms of like getting rid of it, I think maybe I have to lean into more working on my confidence and working on my worth, and maybe that will overpower that feeling of guilt. So I'm not entirely sure where that comes from. But in terms of how to deal with it, I have realized a few things that are quite dangerous when you have that feeling. Because when you feel guilt, I feel like it's much easier for people to manipulate your feelings in a way that will get you to act how they would like. Because I feel guilty, I'm prone to saying sorry. I'm prone to closing the gap when there's conflict, keeping the peace. And by keeping the peace, it's always doing what that person wants. And it's really sad and it's really scary. And I'll give you some examples. So it would be, you are talking to someone and then you feel like that their vibe has just changed. And as someone who's just very socially aware and very fearful and just feeling guilt in general, you feel like you have to internalize the emotions of that other person. You feel responsible for them. You feel sorry that they are going through them, and you have that responsibility to take it away. And on top of that, having that responsibility to take it away, I feel like people can become accustomed to you doing that, to your reaction, to your empathy, that sometimes it just becomes this overwhelming task of interacting with people. And also, I've realized that people can really manipulate your actions through enticing that guilt in you. Like, you know how when you ask someone like, hey, are you okay? And they'll be like, oh, don't worry about it. And then you just automatically know that you've done something wrong and you need to fix it, and you need to change your actions, you need to change your attitude. So I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, like, just out of nowhere, just asked me like, hey, I heard that you spoke to this person. And I was like, yeah, I did. I caught up with them and everything was good. And then it was kind of like covert, I would say. It was kind of like, oh, and then automatically you know that, oh, I should not talk to this person, or I shouldn't have spoken to this person. I can see that this person has a reaction that isn't as pleasant as always. It's subtle, but it's not as pleasant as always. Or when you do something, like let's say going out or having plans, and then someone is just reaction of someone from doing that, and you're like, oh, like I should probably not have too much fun, or I don't know. I feel like people who are not really dealing with that emotion don't really feel that responsibility to change what they truly want to be, what they truly want to do for other people. People who don't feel that emotion are genuinely very lucky, because they have more of that opportunity to be unapologetically themselves. They don't have to shift and change and manipulate their life for people's emotion to make them comfortable. And I think that's really powerful. And that's kind of something that I'm leaning towards. And I think that's why my guilt has become so apparent lately because I've been feeling it more the more I am doing what I want to do. And the more that I am setting boundaries, the guilt hasn't gone away. I don't know how to deal with that yet, but I guess it's a sign that I'm glad that it's there, because it's showing me that I'm having the courage to be disliked, which is a book that I have read that has inspired me to go on this journey. And also, yeah, just be careful of people manipulating your emotions. People are not going to act unless they want to manipulate your behavior. Unless they love you unconditionally, most of the time, at least my experience, I feel like I have had to maintain my connections with people by acting a certain way that is going to please them. And when I want to stop the pleasing and please myself and take care of myself and do the things that I want to do, I always feel like I have to walk around eggshells because I am afraid of losing the people who have become important to me in my life. What I've realized is I am not doing anything wrong. Look, unless you're doing something wrong and you're genuinely doing something that could be labeled as immoral, or say like, oh, this is hurtful or this hurt my feelings, you are allowed to do what you want to do. You should not feel like that permission is taken away from you to do what you like to do or to do what you want to do. Unless you can honestly say, I am not doing anything wrong, and no one can objectively or subjectively label that as immoral, like reconnecting with a friend, going out, having fun with your friends, going downstairs to make some food. You deserve to do what you like to do. You have one life. Like, I am 26 years old and I feel absolutely horrible that I have manipulated my desires and my want of the life that I picture in my head because I want to make other people feel comfortable. It's hurtful. And if people love you, if genuinely they love you and they want what's best for you and they want to support you and they want to support your dreams, they won't have a problem with that. And the people that do, you just have to let them be. Why am I made to feel like I have done some horrible crime when I'm literally just existing? If you are just who you are, if you're just what you like, if you just want to voice an opinion, if you want to feed yourself, if you want to go out, if you want to travel, if you want to make certain friends, just do it. Like, who are these people that are not living your life, like not in your shoes, are not going to fulfill what you need? Why should their opinion really change the trajectory of your life that could honestly lead to something miraculous or amazing? Continue to feel guilty. If you just need some time to feel that guilt, but if you are reaping the benefits of making the choices that you want and fulfilling your desires, then just do it. I'm in the process right now. I feel guilty all the time. But at the end of the day, I was miserable when I just stayed in the safe zone. I don't want to be in the safe zone just for other people. I don't want to. If people end their friendships with me, if I lose relationships, then it's something that I'm willing to sacrifice, honestly, because following your desire or desires ultimately benefits them as well. Because do you think they want to know that you are not happy because you're doing something or you're living a life for them? Do you think at the end of the day, if they really love you, I'm not saying that these people are horrible. Like, I think it's just human nature to go about ways to get the outcome that you want, even if it's emotional manipulation sometimes. I don't think that people are aware of doing it, but I don't think at the end of the day they want to know that you have been unhappy or your friendship is based on the lie. So yeah, continue to freaking feel guilty. Do it until you don't feel guilty anymore, because I am not living my life for other people anymore. It's exhausting. And I'm just going to say, feel, do what I want, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And ultimately, that leads to freedom from people. Like, imagine you are the only person in the world. What would you do? What do you want to do? If nobody was in your way, if you are not afraid what people might say, what they think. Like, let's say the relationships that you fear of losing, that barrier wasn't in the way. Their reactions weren't in the way. Their opinions about you were not in the way. Like, what on earth would you do? And I know the unknown is scary, but crossing your boundaries and suppressing yourself is way more painful. Like, it's kind of choosing one consequence or the other. So yeah, I'm happy. I really am happy that I'm like finally more aware of my actions and what I've been doing, and just breaking out, I guess. I guess that also ties into being avoidant. I think people-pleasing tendencies and manipulating your actions for people's desires, I think that is an avoidant behavior. I always assumed that was like an anxious attachment. I'm like, oh, I'm attached to people. I really need people to like me. But it's kind of also avoidant, because you are avoiding conflict by doing something that you don't want to do. So you avoid conflict altogether by just maintaining surface level relationships. So the friendships that you have that are surface level, you are choosing to do that. You are choosing not to be authentically yourself. You are choosing to just back away from them emotionally, just so you can survive, basically. And I think I have chosen to do that. I have been okay with surface level friendships. I have been okay with surface level relationships because I'm too avoidant to let them in. I don't think that people are going to accept me. And it is my fault. It's the persona that I have showed them for a very long time out of fear. So if I'm going to automatically change that, of course, people that are around me that are accustomed to me, and it is still me, I try to be as authentic as possible. But naturally when you see a reaction from people, well, like, what do? You back away a little bit, and then you just learn to kind of stay in that zone. So there's just so many layers about it, like, just having that, being prone to guilt, and then just being a people pleaser, and that just leads you to be this avoidant person, but also very attached at the same time. I don't know. But if you are having avoidant friendships, if you are having avoidant relationships, that is something that I would say is your responsibility. It's my responsibility, because I'm here saying that I want a deeper connection, but I'm not allowing people to see who I want to be, see what I want to do. Let them have that reaction, let them have that process, let them suffer the consequences of their own emotions and deal with it themselves, and then move past it. And if they love you at the end of the day, they're going to stick by you. And then you are going to have that deeper connection that you've always desired, and you are going to be loved unconditionally, whether they love you and leave you or love you and stay. And you deserve to have like more deeper friendships. I deserve to have deeper friendships. Like, I don't want to be sitting here just playing a part in someone's life. Like, I want to be the main character in my life. And I'm going to continue to feel guilty for a while, but could be my frontal lobe just developing. But don't live safe. Obviously, just take care of yourself and be cautious. And if you're in physical, mental danger, like, don't do anything irresponsible. But if you're not doing anything wrong, like, just let them go. Have that freedom from people. Don't live your life to, like, I just want to eventually reach a point where I can just safely be around people and just hang out with people. I hate conflict. I hate feeling guilty. I hate feeling like someone always has a problem with me because I didn't check it. Like it's a lot. You know what? Being this vulnerable allows people to just divert their anger and their emotions onto you because you're the nice person. But if it was someone else, they wouldn't dare have the guts to do the same thing to person number 2 that has a lot more confidence, that has a lot more passion and boundaries. But when you're on this side of the coin, it just allows people to be like, okay, I'm angry, I'm gonna pop that on you. I'm sad, I'm gonna make that your responsibility. I'm feeling anxious, that's on you. But if you have someone that's confident, they're gonna be like, not you. I'm going to deal with it, because you just respect them more. You know what I mean? But anyways, this is where I am now, and I will definitely continue to upload again. Let me know if this video relates to you and if it helped, and I will see you next week.